Whoa! What's up, y'all? I'm back with a purpose this time with this series. I'm gonna continue with the house series, as y'all see with the title. Today we're gonna be talking about the fourth house. Um, this is another angular house. Remember, the angular houses deal with all the cardinal signs. So angular houses kind of like set the tone. They kind of establish your identity. So remember, the first house is all about the self. The fourth house, it's called the IC2, but like I need to look into that a little bit more before I discuss that. I'll probably do like a whole another thing on that. But this is also like um the house of, like I said, the first house is the house of self. This is the house of like family. More so the mother, but like kind of just family in general too. So like if you have planets in this house, really look into like the meaning behind those planets and just kind of apply it to like what it means in this house. So for example, I'm of the Pluto Scorpio generation. That's like all the, I don't know what year that is, but like it's a generational planet. I have Pluto there. So like I in this lifetime was definitely having to kind of understand like, and it's funny because as I'm doing this, like I love my family dearly and all that, but like I'm learning to like experience the death of family, but like I'm learning to rebirth it and like reestablish like what family means to me. Cause like I have Pluto and Scorpio and it was retrograde. Pluto was retrograde in the sky when I was born. So I always tell my brothers, and I tell people this all the time, I was an asshole growing up. Like I know it was hard to live with me in terms of getting along just cause like I had to have things my way. I never really understood growing up why I was always like that. But like just learning about having Pluto and Scorpio, understanding that like having a Mars ruled sign in this house out of everything is crazy. Cause like I just had to have it my way. And if you were going against me when I was younger, oh, we were clashing. But when that Pluto finally shift it back forwards or whatever the term is, unretrograded. I began to really seriously like think back about family again, and like it's crazy because I didn't really start valuing my family until like I got older. I would say maybe high school. Really, when I went to college is like the first time when I was away from them, where I realized like, oh, dang, like family is everything. And like you're going into the world by yourself, meeting all these strangers and all these people new, and you don't know anyone. And it's like you need those people, not you can fall back on, but you need those people that are like in your corner just to have for your safe haven. Like that's why we are born into families, because it's like by default we have that set of people that we should, you know what I'm saying, like be able to rely on, talk to, love, trust, communicate, all these things, help, want to heal and stuff like that. So I really just spent like the last almost 10 years now, like just relearning, if not 10 years, more than that, a little bit more, relearning my family, learning what they like, trying to do more things with them, trying not to impose my will on them, because like I said, I was an asshole growing up. So like I know it was hard to live with me. I isolated myself all the time. Pluto is, like I said, the planet of death and rebirth and a lot of that. So a lot of that growing up, I had to isolate myself to kind of go through those situations and understand like, okay, we're here. But I'm not making this about me. This is about the fourth house. Like I said, this is the house of Cancer. Cancer's ruling planet is the moon. So like the moon deals with our emotions, the mother, how we are as far as nurturing and all these things. And yeah, like I said, it's the house of family, it's the house of your values and traditions and things like that. So like, for example, if you have, like I said, I had Pluto, well, I have Scorpio, I'm not gonna do the planet, but I have Scorpio fourth house. So like a lot of things I would guess I say that like I place or emphasis placed on in this house for me personally is just like rebirth, relearning bad habits, killing off old habits, things like that. You might have Virgo in this house, or you might have like Gemini in the fourth house, and you might really be close with your family, or you might come from a very like analytical family. I come from a very like passionate family. And it's funny because me and my brothers talk about this all the time. Like, we feel like we inherited like my father's like men are emotional, so like we always talk about how like, oh, we inherited our dad's like anger, because he's not an angry person, but like when people snap, they snap. So like growing up, we, like I said, it was retrograde, so I had internalized a lot of that. But like as I'm getting older, I've learned to transmute that out of here and place that into the world, and not say I go off on people, because occasionally I'm gonna go off on people, but it just, it helps me it's helped me understand like, okay, bet, like I'm an angry person sometimes, but it makes sense in this context. Like you said, you might have Gemini in this house, and you might just, like Gemini is Mercury rule. I said Virgo because it's Mercury rule. You might come from a family that's just always communicated their problems and kind of just like talk things out, like have family meetings and things like that. You could have Libra in this house, and you could come from a very diplomatic family, a family that kind of just always made sure they kind of covered the veil of things, kind of just made sure like, okay, we don't want to reveal these things. We want to kind of have a balanced, peaceful state. And I'm an Aries, so I have an Aries in this house, last example. You can just come from a very fiery family. Like I said before, I have Scorpio in this house, so like it's internalized anger. If you have Aries in this house, you might come from a family that's told you from day one, stand up for yourself. Don't take no shit from nobody. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to do what you got to do. So like I said, there's also the house of your mother. So like how your mother is, or how you view your mother a lot comes from this too. Like in my mom's, I'm not gonna say her age, but like in just all her years of life that I've experienced, I've seen this woman like change so many times for the better, obviously, go through downs and just skyrocket back up. And like the woman she is now, like, is just representative of like me, at least from my personal experience. Like a Scorpio ain't gonna take up, it's like we're gonna hold it in, but like they gonna take up for those that they love, because it's Mars rule. So it's got that passion, that fiery warrior spirit. Like I said, this is a house of, in terms of how you store and express your emotions consistently. So like I said, like, I feel like I said that enough, so I'm not even gonna go back into that. This is also a house that kind of exemplifies how like you were raised. So like I said, Libras, diplomacy. Scorpio, you might just come from a family that internalized a lot of things, did a lot of fighting, but like it kind of is like, you pushed me to the edge, so now we gotta fight. You could come from a Sagittarius house, fourth house family, and like y'all might have always just brushed things off and kind of just was like, it is what it is, like we'll tackle that later down the line, which can be good and bad, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, this house also deals with like hidden family secrets. So like I'm not gonna really dive into any examples because like I don't really see the point of that. But like you could come from a family that, for example, like let's say like you have a parental guardian or like a grandparent that died or something, and you go to find out your family's history. You might have found out that your grandfather was like a pimp or something, or like your grandmother, like, I don't know, like your grandmother could have been just like this woman that ran back in the day, and who knows, like I said, it just kind of deals with the underlying family secrets, and like a lot of things that are just hidden under the surface, a lot of things that aren't really exposed. So like I said, having a Scorpio fourth house, like it's been interesting relearning my family history throughout the years. Like I haven't really done it lately, but I remember like 2 or 3 years ago, I was asking my mom, dad, grandparents, everything, just the stories of how they were growing up before we were here and all that. And a lot of that stuff makes sense because it's like, oh, that's why y'all raised us the way we are. That's how we pass down those genes. That's how y'all pass those genes and whatever to us. So yeah. So like I said, the fourth house also, I wanted to say this just because like as I was doing my research, this one kind of stood out to me. I know I didn't really talk about it in other houses, but like when you're looking at compatibility as far as like a romantic partner or even friendships, more so on the romance side, check your fourth house compatibilities, because like I said, you could be dealing with somebody that has a traumatic fourth house versus somebody that came from, like I said, you could be a Scorpio fourth house person, unlearning trauma, relearning how to establish yourself. And you could be dealing with somebody, like I said, that's Cancer fourth house, or like a Gemini or Taurus fourth house, like Venus rule fourth house, where it's all about love and things like that. And not saying the two can't mesh, because I don't believe any signs are compatible. I believe we're all compatible with each other. Well, specifically compatible. I feel like we're all compatible with each other, but just like looking at it from a humanistic standpoint, we do have to, oh my God, something flying around my room. We do have to work together to, like I said, unlearn traumas. I'm gonna pause this video because I need to get that thing out of here. Actually, you know what? I'm not worried about it. It's about to fly out. But like I said, that kind of stood out to me too, because like I said, you could be a Scorpio rule or Mars rule fourth house and have a Venus rule fourth house, and you're always just like, why is my partner always so aggressive whenever I want to bring up emotional issues or share intimacy and things like that? And a lot of that is like trauma from like childhood, just how they grown up. Like I always say, like, our childhood is interesting because it's like the default things we have to go through. Not necessarily you have to go through, but the things that you're most likely going to go through before you're old enough to kind of set out your own path and just relive and do all these things and kind of just like understand your true self. So I just want to touch on that real quick. Negatively aspected placements may also take up spiritual practices to comfort this house. So like I said, like I'm a Scorpio fourth house. So I've learned that in order for me to control my anger and transmute that anger, I've done breath work all throughout the years, meditation, finding ways, therapies, whether it's smoking, whether it's listening to music, whether it's writing things down, whether it's going to somebody and actually talking to someone. Like it really is about unlearning old bad habits and practicing new habits. So that also stood out to me in my research, because like I said, a lot of us, when we get older, as you can see, some people 30 years old, 40, 50, 60 years old in this lifetime, like still kind of go through the same things over and over and over. People that are constantly broken inside, broken financially, mentally, don't really know how to express themselves and things like that. It's just because like you haven't found that practice to transmute that energy. And like I said, if you come from a Venus rule house or a Mercury rule house or something like that, you might already have that established in you. Like you might be a great communicator. You might be somebody that can just express their emotions and love without having to necessarily always like fight or have that internal struggle with like trying to figure that out. Yeah, and this is also, like I said, the last point, this just deals with your fixed assets too. So like land, buildings, vehicles, things like that, kind of like things that are tangible to this earth, I would say. So like you can have it like as far as inheritance or like type of, even like the type of buildings you like to live in. Like you might be somebody that grew up always living in apartments, so you never really think, oh, I'm gonna live in a house. You could be somebody that grew up in a house and you're always trying to just find that next house. You might have been somebody that's homeless and you kind of just are always moving from this place to that place or whatever. Yeah, like I said, that's the fourth house. Really, it just kind of deals with the family aspect of things and kind of how we grew up. It's more, it's kind of a continuation of all these houses are continuations of each other. So go back and watch my third house video if you would like to kind of get like the gist of third house energy. But fourth house energy kind of just plays off of that. And yeah, I mean, that's really all I have to say about the fourth house. I wanted to try to make these shorter. But honestly, like I'd be rambling. Like I said, Aries, Mercury, Gemini moon. I always write down things, not that much, but then when I talk, I realize like, oh, it just comes. So yeah, if you appreciate this series, make sure you give it, not make sure, I would appreciate if you gave it a like, just because it helps spread it in the algorithm. Sharing it even does more. Share it throughout your socials, people in person, whatever. Like what are those things called, storks, like the bird, if you got to like write my name on the YouTube and like get to another country or something. And yeah, I appreciate you all as always, and we're gonna have that fifth house video out hopefully by the end of this upcoming week. And I appreciate y'all staying with me throughout all this. Like I said, I really care about helping people, teaching, learning. I can't wait to get into the ninth house because I feel like that's my house, my Aries stellium house. But we're not gonna get into that right now. Like I said, love and light. And like I said, I keep saying like I said. Till next time.